So this is the second video I'm making on Miltober, and I'm going to show you the other 10 that I drew for October as well. Day 11 prompt was missile. So for this one I had to draw this character that didn't really have a name until very recently. Her name was Pharaoh. She used to just be called the CEO of, I don't know, just of a business. She is from a different story, not the same story as the Iron Core, and she also has powers that allows her to control Pharaoh fluid. So now you can guess where I got the name Pharaoh from, and she's using it to control these missiles. She kinda looks like Makima in that pose from Chainsaw Man, and at the same time that JoJo pointing pose as well. For the reference for this, I had to just build it in Blender, this 3D program where you can model stuff, and I had to make it up in there basically, and that's how I came up with this. I just saw an image in my head and I had to make it in Blender. This one doesn't have a background because I wanted it to focus on the character and the missiles more than the background, because trying to add it would kind of ruin the image. I give this one an 8 out of 10. I really like the character in this one, just her pose and everything, even though it kind of looks very Makima-like. And the way the missiles are like pointing towards her, same with the lines as well, making it look more intense. Day 12's prompt was snow, and first off I thought this was going to be very hard, because trying to show snow in pencil form is very hard, but I had an idea where I would be using a tank that has a plow in the front to kind of like move the snow that's in front of it. And then I got the idea of using the tank from Black Ops 2, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, where you see in the one mission, Old Wounds, where you see a giant tank coming over the hill, which is from the Russians. So again, I built the reference in Blender again, using the actual tank model that was from the game. And so we got this, and I really wanted to show how deep the snow was, so I drew a guy standing there, and it's up to his shoulders. It looks kind of simple because of how little shading there is, because snow's white, but the detail on the tank kind of makes up for it, I guess. I'd give this one a 7 out of 10, mainly because of how little things there are in the drawing, but yeah, 7 out of 10. Day 13's one was Airborne. Now for this one we are back with the Iron Core soldiers here getting on a plane, and I did use a reference for this. It was a real one. I didn't make this one in Blender. Well, I half did it, just to get an understanding of the angle that I was drawing this from. These are just soldiers again in the Iron Core, so none of them have names or have any character. They're just soldiers. I give this one an 8 out of 10. I could have probably just added a little more detail into the buildings in the back. Day 14's one was Misfire. Now, I was kind of confused with this one, but Misfire meaning a firearm or its projectile to fail to fire or explode or ignite as or when expected. But in some places it was saying that it's something that fails to fire entirely. So I went with the meaning that showed up first, which was failing to fire properly. So now as you can see, it's a mortar misfiring, so the round isn't firing as normal, so it comes out just smoking, and it's just gonna land there, and they're probably gonna run for it or something. As you can tell by the sheer panic in the other guy's face, this isn't gonna end well. Kinda not happy with the background. It looks really weird, even though it's just grass and bushes, which is kinda hard to draw, but I figured out the way how to do it, but I'm not sure if I'm happy with it. I didn't make the reference for this one in Blender. I just referenced it from a real pic. Also, don't know why this guy kind of looks short when he's standing there. I don't like that about it. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's pretty simple. Oh no, this one.
God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the
Day 15's one was mounted. It could mean like mounted on a horse or something, but like I went with mounted machine gun. But like this is a redraw of an old drawing I did a very, very long time ago in 2018 or earlier. And I don't like this one. Not happy about it. Even though it does look like a remaster of an old thing, I still don't like it. The angle on the planes is totally off. It looks like they're going down when they should be level with the plane that's in the foreground. This guy isn't really a character, he's just supposed to be a background character. The ones you aren't supposed to hear a lot of story from, they're just filler. I have no idea what gun this is as well. Looks like an M2 Browning machine gun, kind of, at the same time trying to be an anti-air gun. I really don't like this one. I would redo it, but I really don't want to. So I'd give this a 5 or 4, maybe 4, because I really don't like this one. Even the sky is looking weird. Could easily be the worst one of October, if I don't mess up again. Day 16's one was War Crime, and this one I really wanted to try harder after seeing the previous one I did. So I went back to Blender and had to make a new reference, or my own reference. So this one was using not tear gas. It was something similar to nerve gas. I don't know, they're bleeding from their mouths and eyes, and they're dying very quickly. So you can tell why this is a war crime, because you can't use chemical weapons in warfare. It's prohibited. The dude in the middle he's kind of new. Just made that guy. He doesn't have a name. He's similar to Caustic from Apex Legends, but yeah, that's just who I thought of when making this guy. And he's gassing Iron Core soldiers. Don't know who he's a part of or what they are at war for, but this would be a war crime. I'm sorta happy with this one, but like, I can tell I'm just climbing out of a hole from what I did in the previous one, and this one is kind of okay, I guess. So I'd give this one a 7 out of 10. It's not brilliant, but it's good. Now, Day 17's one was rations, and is basically MREs. For this one, I searched soldiers eating rations and found a pic. I don't know if I could find it now, but like, it's similar to that picture, and I used it to make a reference in Blender again. And I used the vehicle from Call of Duty Black Ops 2 again, from the first mission, Pyrrhic Victory. It's one of the vehicles you see a bunch of soldiers driving, and the one you cling on to that's the Vimbies driving as well. Like, this is obviously an African country here, the African country soldiers, so they are eating rations similar to the picture that I found online. And I feel like I've finally gotten out of that hole of mediocre drawings, and this one is actually really good, I'd say. So I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Day 18's one was Heckler and Koch, and this one I made again in Blender, the reference. And I did kind of use this from reference. Make the reference from a reference, but change it slightly so I can just make it my own. The guy holding the gun is again Tommy from the second day. He's wearing bulletproof vest this time and using a HK416 in the drawing. This one I sort of like. I would give this a 7 out of 10. The shading slightly ruins it, but what you gonna do? Just because it kinda makes it dark and hard to see the details that I made on the gun. Day 19's was Musket, and for this one I made the reference again in Blender, and trying to get the angle just right was kinda hard, but I had to make it like this, as you can see. This is the first drawing that has this company called the Mercs. I guess you could call them like a PMC, but this is the first one that has Mercs in them. I just call them mercs. Might be kinda hard to tell the difference between the mercs and the iron core. Haven't made the details so obvious yet. Anyway, I like the background in this one. I like how I made the trees, like, there's first a foreground of trees, then there's a middle ground, and then there's a background, which is the one far in the back, obviously. And it really makes it look like there's actually a forest in the background without having to draw so many trees. And I really like that about this one. So I'd give it a 8 out of 10. Day 20's one was Downpour. Now with this one, it has again mercs in it, 3 of them, and they're standing by a bus stop. Now I kind of reference this from Studio Ghibli's Umbrella scene, which I was going to try and make it almost similar, and I decided just to make a reference in Blender again, and we have the picture you see here, and it's kind of weird how it looks because of the rain. It's kind of hard to draw rain. I kind of didn't know how to do it. I don't know the story about this one. They look pretty sad, which is what I said in the post. But because of the rain, I would give this 7 out of 10.